in terms of the fire department. I think their SOPs need a little updating and formatting. And then, so I think at the next meeting, which is a week from tomorrow, we'll just discuss on that briefly. I think the other thing that's a concern with the fire department is if these guys that need training that go for training require physicals, somebody's got to find a way to get these physicals done for a more reasonable amount than the 800 something they paid for the last one, where that's going to break the bank there. So that's about it as far as I'm concerned with the fire department. And then the ambulance, I think the focus is, if any, is, and that may be budget oriented, as I said before, would be, Jesse seems to keep blurting out, we need this and we need that. Well, let's put it all together and make a plan out of it. So
yeah, and I hate to say it, a lot of that needs to fall on Jesse, and that needs to be the select board to some degree working with Jesse.
Or it could be this committee to help work with him to guide him too in terms of trying to plan it out and whatever. I think he just needs some guidance in terms of how that process works.
He may, but what we hope to see is that, what I personally hope to see, and it's been shared with me from other members of the board, is, yeah, Jesse, you need to work directly with us. Before we ask for help from a volunteer group of people, work with us. Lay it all down. Let's see where it's all at. It may be there is so much stuff that needs maintenance and needs replaced, and we should have this and we don't have it today, that's one of those areas where we go, Carol, can you guys reform the EMSG for maybe a 2-month engagement? Because we think this stuff it's bigger than either of us have time for, somebody who needs to work closely. But put it on us first.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay, Marianne?
Is the fireman physical something beyond what most physicals are?
I'm not sure. I know there's a form that has to be filled out.
But there are for camps and
I know.
colleges.
I know. They have to make sure that they are. It's a new requirement that if they're taking any kind of course at the training that requires some level of physical activity, they can pass the physical. And I mean, it doesn't hurt that these guys have some kind of baseline medical anyway. We were kind of shocked that they don't have to pass a physical to get on the department, nor does anybody, keep an eye on their blood pressure, pulse, or anything like that.
I'm happy to call around if I know what I'm asking for to go with clear choice and convenient MD.
I will find out about that.
But I just need to know what it is I'm asking.
Just
like a camp physical could be $50.
Just go get one of the blank forms that they have to fill out. I'm sure.
Walk it into clear choice and go, how much would this cost and can you do it?
That'd be the easiest way.
I will take care of that.
Carol?
Yes, sir.
My wife has done some of the physicals, and I asked her about that $800 price, and she said that it could be because there are some special stress tests and cardiac studies and all kinds of stuff that some people have to be certified at a certain level or healthy for a certain level of activity, and it's not just a matter of sitting down with a doctor and can you lift this much weight and stuff like that. So.
Thank you for asking.
It could be, stuff that has to be referred to a lab or a clinic or something like that, besides just sitting down and talking to a clinician about how you feel. And
I will get some details and we'll get back on that.
We basically, just in the hospital where I was, we went around, the fire departments in New York had to implement the same type of thing many years before. And what the hospital did was they scheduled everything and they went to that fire department so that on this day you've got 3 physicals, do the basics there, and then if other follow-up needs from there, you can go from there. That's maybe a way to look at it that way. The hospitals or convenient healthcare centers will be able to do that at a cheaper price. And I'll be glad to work with you on that.
Okay, I'll see what I can find out. So, Chris, I'm taking away from this that at this point, you've got to go back to the select board on these punch list items, for one.
No, they're good to go on the dumpster diving, he said.
Well, or is it this group or is it a subcommittee that involves a wider range of people?
Let's work together and figure out what makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, don't we need someone from the DPW?
Right, obviously involved.
That sort of thing.
So we need somebody.
Well, I think one of the things is they're waiting for David's on vacation and they need him to come back and they want him there when they start talking about it.
Sure.
And he's gone for 2 weeks.
He's got a starting point.
Yeah.
But do you guys have some ideas about who should staff that? I mean, obviously DPW. What other aspects do we want to look at? Do you need a couple people, one to look at alternatives, one to operations? Do we need to look at what the true cost of ownership of our dump is? We've
Yeah,
always
yeah.
had that question.
You know, and then the other thing too is I know I think Linda mentioned it too about being able to take charge cards up there. You know, just off.
We can't have charge
that goes
cards
back
down
to your
here.
services.
You don't take charge cards down here.
That came up last night though.
It'd be nice if they didn't
It
put that.
would be really nice if we could do charge cards here, but I
Just a quick
can't
poll,
believe.
would everybody be willing to pay a surcharge for the,
Depends on how big a surcharge.
say it's 3-5%? Cheap.
That's
How much?
high.
About
10%.
3%.
I'm just saying.
That's what the town gets charged every time. Every time a charge card is used, whoever, the company is 3 to 5%. If it's American Express, it's 9 or 10. So it's simply saying,
Offsetting the fee.
it's simply offsetting the fee of using it.
I paid my state income tax online today and it was 2% to use it with to do it with a charge card.
Pretty standard. 2%, 3%.
Gotta keep those banks.
They are hurt.
Yeah.
So the other thing I'm taking away is,
to pay, by the way.
the other thing I'm taking away is that you're basically saying the MSG should not proceed with the ambulance right now, that the select board is going to do that, but we might get called back into.
No, I think the EMSG can certainly continue the work you started. You've talked to every single department, but you may not need to go into as much detail, realizing that the select board's gonna be working more closely with him. Or you guys can say, you know what, since the select board is going forward with this and we're gonna be involved in working with the select board, there is no need for an EMSG. That's the type of thing where, come up with a suggestion.
We're also kind of getting close to that point of the ambulance.
Yes.
I mean,
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think a lot of the stuff that falls with the ambulance right now is more budget committee related than maybe the EMSG end of it. And so, you know, and that's just the only thing I want the EMSG to be sure of is that, you know, we're not just saying, okay, we've had enough, that's it. We're not going to look at the ambulance and, you know, we've made a conscious decision as far as that goes. Yes, ma'am.
So, one question for the select board is, do you want the planning board or the budget committee to take the lead on the capital improvements plan?
I think we need to talk to somebody on the planning board, and because
I think it's required to have a person
Exactly.
a person from the planning board has to be on the other committee if the planning board
Right.
doesn't do it.
As Sam said, they don't have to show up for the meetings, but they have to be on the committee, so.
I mean, I wouldn't mind, I could go and talk to the planning board and see what their feelings are. I mean, I don't have a problem doing that.
Yeah, I think definitely you should be our guy on the capital improvements plan.
Because I mean, you guys all know what I want, more of a realistic one to begin
Oh,
with.
Yeah.
town needs to-
Yeah, I think everybody would applaud that.
And the other thing that's not on the punch list is the use of the Bragg Lane property by Brendan Yost.
Yeah.
No, I think, rather than saying that, I think what needs to be on here is the Bragg Lane property. I think that an overall committee has to decide, has to do all the work. And then having done that, then we can look at uses and
How
how,
does this fit into this plan that we have?
right. But I think, so I didn't mean to cut you off, but I think it's,
No, I think you're right.
I think there needs to be a Bragg Lane committee. And who,
So is that the planning board, or do we have a rep on that, or?
I think
what's-
the selectmen have to decide.
I think the selectmen have to
I
decide.
don't-
I think we have to decide how we want to pursue that. And like I said, we kind of reached out to Mike and said, would you like us to, that's the direction I was certainly pushing for. Let's get something rolling with this thing. But he wants to look at it first and come up with some stuff, so.
Well, he may be concerned that with the committee, if there is a committee formed, that it comes up with another use besides the Bradley mills.
Yeah.
Well, I know I certainly, I'm an advocate of, number one, I don't think the town needs to be in the owning property business for the sake of owning property, and it's not doing anything right now. I'm also not opposed to structuring something that would allow friendly meals. I'm not saying I'm holding the majority position on the select board or anything like that. But I think, gosh, if you could cut it up into 4 different pieces and get a somewhat lucrative deal on 3 of them, then you could afford to probably do something.
Well, then, that opens a whole nother thing, I mean, technically there's really no road frontage on it, so someone course, has to be town approved road.
I didn't say it was an easy.
And also the new setbacks from water
Yeah.
make that
Yeah.
very, very
So
difficult.
my idea may not be at all feasible, but that's sort of what I'm thinking, is there some way that we can monetize part of it?
But as Julie said, if you set up a committee whose mission is to figure out what we should do with this property, and all the options are included, even selling it, then you'd have a committee who could give you advice on it.
I agree completely.
And that committee could say, yes, a road can go in, no, a road can't go in.
Right, they'd have to do
Septic
all the
systems can go in, how many?
Absolutely.
This number of
And I
septic systems,
swear-
they have to be here, that means buildings
I
would
don't
have to
think it's
be.
gonna be the committee saying that, it's gonna be a question of surveying and that kind of stuff, and a lot
Right,
of
but I think,
engineering.
but I think that the committee needs to be the one who's looking at this and getting this information.
And trying to get some of that information that costs some money. The other thing that came up too, that last night that, I forgot to mention, and Kristen piped in with it, I think it was Rock's idea about, there needs to be a traffic study done too on the street, so, Marianne?
10 years ago, I swear, a lot of this was done, because the plan when we got Bragg Lane was to put the 3 modular homes there. So I can't believe
That was
there's.
a developer though and everything. I think.
Yeah, that was David, not David, yes, David.
It was all looked at to put.
Right, and there is a
Six-
partial survey done.
There is.
Yeah,
That's
it's just
okay.
not complete,
Right.
and I'm not sure Linda was able to put her hands on it, I think she was, but.
It was never completed, and we paid
Because it
out the
fell apart.
survey with intentions that everything was gonna be put all together, but it didn't materialize.
I think the people got other housing or something too, so they never had to.
Well, no, this was just recently.
Oh, okay.
3-4 years ago, that we started to have it surveyed again, because there was parts of it that we thought we owned all the way to Myers Pool, well, it turns out we don't, and that Molly owns that upper piece there. So we need to determine what the boundaries are, because we purchased a piece of land we didn't even have surveyed. I mean, that's.
Brilliant.
It was a time of crisis, it was a great idea at the time.
So my thing is yes,
we need to
nobody
consider-
knows.
Right.
Nobody has any idea what we could do, what we can't do. We don't even know if it's feasible that we could do what Friendly Meals and the food shelf is asking us.
Right.
We don't even know that.
Sounds like we don't even know what we have.
We don't.
That's the whole.
Start
thing
there.
about it.
We're full of what we don't know.
We got a good deal on it.
No, I don't think that was the case either.
All right, let's
But the
get back
point
on.
is, yes, there does need to be a group of people that look at it.
And that,
Who exactly is gonna staff that, I don't know, but
Okay.
I believe the selectmen should be the ones.
To put
That's
the-
correct. Can we
Absolutely.
put Brad Lane on the punch list though, and leave it as such, or put select board as,
I don't know if you need to, you know what I mean? It's not really a tick-off item, it's gonna be a project throughout the year, I think.
But I think
but I
we
think
do
we
need,
need a long.
I think it needs to, because